Okay, here we go. It's August 2nd,
Yeah.
2003.
Yeah.
And we're going to take for the record, we're going to interview Anita Simonetti. And
This famous person.
this famous person. Okay. And, okay. What was your maiden name?
Maiden name?
Yes.
Ricky. R-I-C-C-I.
And what's your current age?
96.
Okay. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Italy.
Where?
Pieve di Monte di Ville.
And
Toscana.
where were you raised?
I was raised in Cleveland.
Okay. When did you come here?
I came in 1913.
Okay. And
April, I think it was April. On the Conic Albert.
okay, we're going to start with at the time of World War I. Where were you living at the time of World War I?
I was living in Hamilton Avenue.
In Cleveland?
Downtown Cleveland.
Okay. Were you in school then?
I was in school.
What do you remember about World War I?
Not too much. I was, I don't know. I was in school, and they had a march on Superior, and I was dressed like a nurse, and we had a big flag. They carried this huge flag, and all the girls were holding up part of it. And that's it, all I remember.
You don't remember anything else from World War I?
No, I didn't do much.
Okay. Let's skip to World War II. Did you have any children at the time of the war?
In World War II?
Yes.
Yeah, I had 2 boys.
Okay. And did you work during the war?
No, I didn't work.
What was your main wartime activity?
Sitting home and cleaning house and writing to my son in the service.
Okay.
Cooking and wifely duties.
Were there any special family or friends meetings about the war?
Well, I had my neighbors, they had 3 boys in the war, and every day we would sit on the porch and talk about it, and then leave and go upstairs and write letters to the boys. Every day.
In what ways did the war change your activities or habits?
Nothing. I was still doing the same dumb thing.
Did you have any children in the war?
I had my oldest boy.
Okay.
John.
Did your social activities change during the war?
I was never a joiner. I just did my housely duties, and we went out once in a while to a party or something. That's it.
Here's an interesting question. What were weddings like during the war?
What were weddings like?
Yeah, were weddings any different?
No, they weren't any different. They just...
Did you worry that the United States might not win the war?
No, I never worried when the United States went in. I was worried before.
Did you know anyone who was killed or wounded in the war?
No, I don't.
Tell me about corresponding via letters with family in the service.
Well, we corresponded. I don't know if you say correspond, because you didn't always get an answer. I wrote every day. Every day I wrote a letter to my son. And he received a lot of them because he answered the question. But we used to send packages all the time. But it came to where he had to request a package before we could send one. And he received them, and he was at the front.
Do you think he got them?
Yeah, he did.
Did medical care change during the war?
I don't, what do I know? I'm home. I never went to the doctor too much.
Okay.
That's why I'm 96.
Did anything special go on in your community during the war? Civil defense or, you know?
Just a lot of talk about the war, that's it.
Okay. Any shortages or rationing of food or gas?
They rationed everything. You had to have a ticket to buy oil, to buy meat, to buy everything.
Did you feel it? Did you feel you
I
didn't?
didn't feel it, no. I didn't feel it. We always had everything.
Did you have a victory garden or other ways to get enough food?
Yes, we did. We had a small garden in the backyard.
How did you cope with wartime shortages?
I coped pretty good.
Do you remember?
I had stuff put away.
Did you recycle rubber, grease, or anything of that like that?
Well, I don't think we recycled.
Was there any hoarding or black market to try to get extra?
Well, if there was, I don't know.
Okay.
I was just a simple housewife.
How did you feel when the war ended?
I was very happy.
How did
My
you
son would be coming home.
How did you get the news that the war ended?
Well,
The day.
geez, everybody was, newspapers were full of it, everything was full.
When did your son come home? Do you remember when he came home?
I remember when he came home, but I don't know what day it was.
No, I just...
1946.
Yeah. What do you remember?
I remember he came home in the morning, and his father and his brother and a friend went to meet him at the train. And this boy had never had anything but cocoa for breakfast. He came home with a Southern Comfort on his hip.
Had he changed?
Well, he told me, "Ma, I'm not your little boy anymore." He hadn't changed. No, I wouldn't say he changed. Grown up, you know, you've seen all kinds of things.
And any other special thoughts about the war that you would want to share for future generations?
You know, my son came home, never talked about the war. I never knew anything of what happened to him until I heard it.
Okay. Anything else? That was...
Thank God.
No. Okay, we're signing off. Okay, now while we're at it and why we have this, now I want to take you through... Oh, stop it. Okay, now we're going to do This Is Your Life, Anita Simonetti.
You got something else there?
No, I don't have anything else there.
You're going to do it on your own?
Yes, yes.
Why?
Why not? Why not? Why do we have this argument on this tape? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I can't remember all this.
Okay, what's the first thing you remember? How far back can you remember? Do you remember anything of Italy?
I remember landing in New York.
Okay.
And we stayed, my mother and my sister and my brother, two brothers and I. One brother was over here already with my father. My father was here. And when we came in, I remember being on the train and staying overnight by some people in New York. Some friends of my mother, you know. We stayed overnight, then we came home. And on the train, I'll never forget it, I ate a banana. And I had that taste in my mouth for the longest time, because I had never eaten a banana. So what else? Then we come to Cleveland, and my father was here. Well, he met us in New York, but he was here. He had a house, you know, he was making those statues with my uncle. And because when we came over, my aunt came with us, with her 3 kids, I think. So we stayed there together for a while, but then we moved. My father and my family, we moved in Hamilton. This was when we came, this was on 14th Street on Lakeside. Right out by
Yeah.
by the hospital. And we lived there in 1540 Hamilton Avenue.
Hey, you remember.
We lived there for a long time, until I got married.
Yeah.
And that was 19.
You went to grade school at St. John's?
Yeah,
Right at the cathedral?
yeah. I
Okay.
went there. That's the schooling I had. But I got a scholarship when I graduated and went to where the sisters are. What's
Yeah.
the name of that school?
St. Stephen's?
No.
St. Stephen's is right there.
Oh, it's a Beaumont.
Oh,
What is that?
yeah, Beaumont School for Girls.
Yeah, but it was
Something else?
and it was on 55th and Scoville. I
Okay.
would take the streetcar to go up there. And I went there for a while, but not very long. And I met my husband. I got married at 17.
Well, how'd you meet him?
Well, friends, you know, it was, you know, you meet all these families, the Italians get together. So.
Did he sweep you off your feet?
Right?
Did he sweep you off your feet?
He wasn't the sweeping kind. So what else can I tell you? I don't know.
Where'd you get married?
Huh?
Where'd you get married?
At St. Anthony. St. Anthony, you know,
Oh.
Sant'Antonio, the Italian church.
On Superior?
No, it
No.
wasn't on Superior. It was, oh God, I can't even remember where the church was.
Yeah.
It wasn't on Superior. All the Italian people went there. We baptized our kids there and everything. So then I went to live with my mother-in-law, which was hell on earth.
Where was that?
That was on 27th and Superior, where St. Columbkille's church used to be.
Where it used to be, yeah. Yeah.
We were there. That's where we lived, but not long. They owned the house, but they sold the house, and we went to live on Superior and 84th, way down the end of the street. We had a house full of roomers. This house had rooms on the 3rd floor, so we lived there for a while. And I had my son. After 10 months, I had a boy.
10 months?
It was illegal. So then my in-laws, my brother-in-law went to Italy to get married, and his mother went along. So I had to take care, a young girl, 17 years old, take care of all these boarders, washing all those beds. Oh my God, you don't know what, that's why I said it was hell on earth. And you wash like this. You didn't have machines. So I stayed there, and then we bought a house on 77th and St. Clair.
Where was Grandpa working then?
He was working at the Statler.
Okay.
When I got married, he was working at the Statler. And then he worked there for a while, and they went on strike. So he had to hustle around to get a job. And he got a job in Akron. He would leave in the morning, go to Akron, and come home every day then. And then they called him in Cincinnati if he wanted to go and open up the Netherlands label. So he went. I was there by myself with 3 kids. In fact, when he left, I was in bed. Ronnie was born. So people think they have it hard, all these wives.
When did you move to Cincinnati?
Well, he went down in 1931 when they opened the police. And I was there with the kids since 31 to 33, all by myself. And my boy died in between. So that's when he came home, and then I went down. He didn't want me to go down because he had the intention of coming back. All our people were here, you know. But I moved down there. I went to Cincinnati. I didn't know a soul, with 2 children. I was sitting there like a dummy on the stoop. The neighbors would take pity on me and call me. So we stayed there. I stayed there for 13 years, I think. From 33 to 46. That's 13 years.
Yeah.
And we liked it very much. Then when my son came home from the service, he was looking for a school. All the GIs were getting paid for schooling, and he couldn't get in any place. He had to wait a whole year. So he came to Cleveland and went to Case Western, not Case Western,
Case Tech.
Case Tech, Case.
Yeah.
What they call it? Case.
Back then it wasn't Case
Applied
Institute.
Science, something applied science.
Yeah,
What
Case
was
School of Applied Science. Yeah.
Yeah. So he got in there, and he signed up. So my husband said, "Now, if you wanted to go home, now is the time. Do you want to go back to Cleveland?" Well, I was hesitated because we were having a good time down there. We had a lot of friends. So I said, "Okay, let's go." I said, "We'll never get all this good stuff that you're bringing home."
I mean, food-wise and...
Oh, he used to bring ice cream and Crocs. I never bought ice cream, but oh, that was ice cream. So we came back.
Where'd Grandpa go to work?
Where'd he go to work? I don't know. Oh, Broglers.
Broglers,
Yeah,
yeah.
he came back, he went to Broglers, see, and I forget. He went to Broglers, they wanted him there. So he worked there for a while, and then he opened up that restaurant, Pisano's down there. And then from there, he got a job on television, and he worked on television till 1954, I think.
Oh, it had to have been later than that. Because
No,
I can remember going on TV. I can remember it.
Over here, I think.
No, in Akron, I
Yeah.
thought. I can remember going on TV.
I know he was on TV in 1954.
It's got to be at least till 57,
I don't think so, John.
because I can remember it. I can remember being in the studio.
But I don't think it was 57. I don't know. I tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I know 54
Yeah.
because I have numbers up.
Yeah, I can remember being in the studio and eating and him having me on stage, him and having Larry and me
Yeah.
come out and eat. Yeah, I have that memory. And I can't imagine, I'm thinking back when I was 3 years old.
I don't know.
Okay.
So then he worked there, and then when he got through there, he quit. He was working at Brothers, and he quit there, you know. And he went to work for Otino's. So he worked there until he got sick.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, your family. You had 4 brothers and 1 sister?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There were 6 of us.
Paul?
Paul, Tony, Camels, and Roland.
Okay.
And my sister Ada. All gone.
Tell me about each one.
I don't know. They're nothing.
Nothing to say?
Nothing so special. They just worked. Like everybody does. They go to work in the morning, take care of their family, and everybody was no trouble, no drugs or anything like that. They were all home, and my mother was forever ironing shirts because they, you know, in those days people didn't get kicked out.
They do these days.
My mother had 4 boys home until they didn't get married young. Camels maybe, because he had to. That shouldn't go down in.
That shouldn't go on the record.
You know, he told my mother that he was getting married, but it was bad times, depression, and then he was living home, you know, and working. So my mother says, in Italian it sounded different. She says, "Is it burning?" He said, "Yeah." So she said, "Okay then, go ahead." In Italian it's different. You can't translate all the things.
No, no.
So that's it.
That's it? Anything else?
I don't know. Everybody led a good life till they died. Everybody was friendly. We had no problems with any of the kids. That's it. A wonderful family.
There you go.
I remember you're telling me about you're coming to help your mother out, and didn't she have to come and stay with you?
Well, my father got sick. I was in Cincinnati. I can't tell that the whole life. And I came up because I knew my father was sick. And my sister said, you know, when we came up, she said, "There's no hope," she said to me. I said, "Oh my God." Well, I went back to Cincinnati and I couldn't stay there. I just, because I loved my father. He was a wonderful man. He loved the kids. He wanted your father to stay there with him. So I said to my husband, you know, I have to go home. I can't stay here. So John was in high school. Well, they were both in high school, I think. I don't know. And I left him there with his father, and I took Ronnie out of school, and we went up. That was in April. I don't know. He died in April. Anyhow, he lived only a month when we were. And May. No, it was May. I don't even remember when he died. May? Anyhow, we were there. We used to go there every summer. As soon as school was out, I would go up with my two children. And we'd stay all summer, and then Dad would get his vacation. He'd come up, and the end of September, of August, we would pack up and go home.
Did you drive or take the train for those trips?
He used to drive.
Okay.
And I took care of my father.
Hold on here.
I quit. Hello. Goodbye. Hello. I can't talk to you now. I got just company.
Okay. Anyhow.
What did I do? What were I doing?
Where was she, Gil?
Oh, I came up and took care of my father for a month. But the doctor used to come, you know, and he called me outside. He saw that I was really trying, you know, to help. He said, "You know that there's no help." I said, "Yeah, but where there's life, there's hope," I told him, you know. But he was going down. He died. That's it. I was there. Paul, but that day he died. His sister had come up from Gallipolis. And she was there with her daughter, Nellie. And Paul was there. He was, you know, he was on his last. And we were all laid out on the floor. Where are you going to go? The boys, the young ones that were upstairs in the attic, they had beds up there. And you heard him, his breath stop.
Ooh.
My father. I said, oh, you know, Paul got up right away and went in. And he did everything. You know, he tied his cheeks up. I don't know what they do. I don't know what he did. And he straightened his legs. And he did all that. And then he says, "Come on in. You want to see him?" I wanted to see those things. Anyhow, that's what happened. We buried him. And it was time to go back to school. And I said to my mother, I said, "Ma, you're going to come with me." I never even asked Grandpa, nothing.
Yeah.
So we had to move her. That was a terrible thing, you know. Her husband dies and she has to get out of the house and move to another city. Mm-hmm. That was awful. I felt so sorry for her, but what could I do? Nobody else offered. I had all that family and nobody. So I brought her home with me. She lived with me for 23 years. But
Then she went down to Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She came down and lived with me. Everybody took something or whoever what they wanted, you know. And she took her bedroom and came down. She was nice. She, you know, she did live her own life. I didn't tell her to do anything. She cleaned her room and helped and whatever, you know, cooking sometimes. And in summer, she would go to Massachusetts by Rolla. She spent the whole summer up there. So that's why we went out. She was right at home. I never, you know, she never left when we had company. She knew all the company.
That's right. Oh, I remember coming every Sunday. Every Sunday.
We had a good life. She had a good life. She was lucky.
Every Sunday, everybody was here.
Oh my God.
Every Sunday, Gail, everybody.
There
came
wasn't
here.
room for the cars.
No. And all the men were downstairs playing poker.
They never came up here because we cooked and everything downstairs. I had a stove and a refrigerator, everything down there. People would come in, they never came in here, they went right down.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, every Sunday. Every Sunday.
Every Sunday, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember it well.
They had a good time. Thank God for that. I don't regret it, you know.
No.
I was easy like that. You know, all those people came. Not one of them brought a cookie.
Really?
That's
Yeah.
the way it was.
Yeah, it was automatic every Sunday. We were here. Everybody was here.
I'm glad that they had a good time. The whole
Yeah.
bunch of them.
Yeah.
You'd hear them screaming and hollering. One day, one night, they stayed all night. And in the morning, I had to make them pancakes and whatever for breakfast. Oh, God. And one, they used to play in the kitchen there, and that little rack that I had there with all that stuff on there was hanging over by the kitchen table. Camels got up and knocked that thing, everything fell down. Everything that's in there is broken. I said, now you gotta bring, your wife's got a lot of this stuff, you gotta bring it back to me. He wasn't gonna do it. Oh, God.
Okay.
That's my life, John.
That's your life. All on tape now.
We had a good life.
Yeah, you got a good grandchildren. Look at me.
Your father was, your grandfather was not hard to live with. He never ordered me to do this and that and the other thing. I did what I wanted. I went where I wanted. He didn't care. He was a good man and sensible. He had what it takes up here. There was nothing pretentious about him.
No.
He didn't want anybody to, don't get too classy, he used to tell me. He didn't want, you know, to show that he had, he was just plain, a plain person. That's the way we lived. He never once said to me, you got a new dress on. He never noticed. I didn't even show him when I bought him. I put him, hang him up, and that's it. That's the way he was. He was kind. Everybody loved him. Really, even at work. In my family, oh my God. Now,
Yeah.
Steve, they didn't like him that much. No, he wasn't a nice man. He wasn't.
He was always nice to me.
He's nice to everybody. But he was a stupid ass.
Okay.
Oh, he wasn't. Is this going on?
It's still going. We're not sending that to the Library of Congress.
I didn't know this thing was going on.
I'm not going to ask you about me.
Why?
I'm not going to ask about me. I don't want that on there.
No, the kids are on one way. We have a wonderful family.
We do.
I have to say that. Everybody gets along. Everybody's nice. Everybody's working. Everybody's got a nice wife and nice homes. What more do you want?
Yeah. Nothing. Nothing.
They're all better off than I am. I tell Rennie, I'm the poorest one, and look at the stuff I got.
Yeah.
Torn.
Well, let's talk about your finances. You probably are the poorest one.
Well, I'm going to sell them for $50 a shoe.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not in the poorhouse already.
How come this wasn't in the paper?
I don't want to get all your finances on here. I don't.
I'm a poor lady with millionaire children.
With millionaire children, right.
I told her, aren't you ashamed of yourself? Look at the sofa that I got. A millionaire's white mother. I don't want to buy it because I'm not going to be here long. What am I going to spend money on a sofa? Then somebody's going to fight over it. This way they'll throw it out. Bye. That's the way I think, you know.
Yeah, I think all of us do.
Turn that thing off.
Okay, I'm going to turn it off. That's it.
No, I do think like that. I think of death. Is that something to think of?
We all do.
Everyone does.
Everyone does.
Like in the morning,